The fire crackles. Shadows twist against a cave wall. In the center, a figure lifts something toward the flames. Something wrapped in leaves, something sacred. The others kneel, silent, trembling. They believe that if this ritual is not performed tonight, the spirits will abandon them and darkness will swallow their world. Ancient power didn't begin with crowns or armies. It began with rituals. Secret ceremonies whispered across millennia, performed in forests, temples, and hidden chambers carved beneath the earth. Before laws, before kings, before written language, humans believed that the universe could be persuaded. If the right words were spoken, the right offerings made, the right shadows cast. This is the story of the dark rituals that shaped early civilizations. Ceremonies that crowned rulers, legitimized wars, determined life and death, and forged the foundations of power. Some were symbolic. Others were terrifying. All of them controlled the ancient world in ways we are only beginning to understand. Our journey starts not in a metropolis or a temple, but in the deep prehistory of humanity, when survival itself depended on appeasing unseen forces. For early hunter-gatherers, storms were not weather. They were anger. Illness wasn't biological. It was a spirit's punishment. Rituals were not optional. They were protection. Archaeologists have found evidence of ritual activity long before agriculture, including burial sites where bodies were painted red with ochre, a pigment associated with life and rebirth. Even 100,000 years ago, humans believed death required ceremony. The earliest rituals held a form of power no king could match, power over fear. When humans settled into villages and later cities, rituals evolved. They became the language of authority. The village leader was not merely the strongest. He or she was the one who could speak to the gods, the spirits, the ancestors. To lead meant to mediate between mortals and the invisible. Around 3000 BCE in Mesopotamia, priests performed midnight ceremonies atop ziggurats, whispering prayers to bring the sun back each morning. When kings were crowned, they underwent elaborate purification rites, bathing in sacred water, anointing with oils, reciting oaths that supposedly carried divine approval. These rituals legitimized power in the eyes of the people. If the gods blessed the king, how could anyone challenge him? But not all ceremonies were comforting. Some were unsettling, even gruesome. In early Sumerian cities, rituals were performed to ensure the gods remained satisfied. This included sacrifices of animals, and sometimes, according to some historical interpretations, humans. When a king died, servants were buried alive to accompany him into the afterlife. The belief was simple. The king must continue ruling in death, and a ruler without servants was powerless. The ceremony was brutal, yet deeply meaningful to the people who participated. Across the Nile, the ancient Egyptians elevated ritual into something both beautiful and terrifying. The pharaoh was not just a king, but a god on earth, and his connection to the divine had to be maintained through complex ceremonies. In one ritual, known as the opening of the mouth, priests believed they could give life to statues or even to the dead, enabling them to eat, drink, and breathe in the afterlife. But perhaps the darkest Egyptian ritual was the nightly journey of the sun god Ra through the underworld. Every night, priests reenacted the cosmic battle between Ra and Apophis, the serpent of chaos. Without these ceremonies, they feared the sun would never rise again. Imagine the weight of that responsibility, the belief that human hands maintained the balance of the cosmos. Far to the east, in ancient China, rituals dictated the fate of empires. The mandate of heaven, a divine approval required for rulers, depended on maintaining cosmic harmony. If earthquakes, droughts, or rebellions occurred, the emperor's rituals were questioned. Hidden ceremonies inside the Forbidden City were performed to communicate with heaven. These rites were so sacred that commoners were forbidden even to know their details. The emperor was seen as the link between earth and sky, an idea reinforced through rituals shrouded in secrecy. One of the most haunting ceremonial traditions emerged among the Shang dynasty, where oracle bones, turtle shells, and ox scapulae were heated until they cracked. Diviners read those cracks as messages from ancestors. Kings consulted them on everything: war, harvests, childbirth. These rituals directly shaped political decisions. If the bones said attack, armies marched. If they said wait, entire campaigns were delayed. Decisions that determined thousands of lives were made in smoky rooms where bones hissed and cracked in the fire. The ancient Greeks, on the other hand, infused their rituals with drama and philosophy. But beneath their rational exterior lay rites that outsiders considered deeply unsettling. The mysteries of Dionysus, for example, involved nights of ecstatic dancing, wild chanting, and symbolic acts meant to break the boundaries between human and divine. Participants claimed to feel possessed by the god himself, liberated from societal constraints. These ceremonies frightened authorities, for they brought ordinary people to a state where they believed themselves beyond the reach of earthly law. Even more secretive were the Eleusinian mysteries, initiations so sacred that revealing them meant death. Thousands participated, including kings and philosophers, yet no one ever revealed what truly happened. Some say visions were shown, others believe initiates drank a sacred potion that induced spiritual transformation. Whatever occurred, the rituals wielded extraordinary emotional power. People emerged believing they had conquered the fear of death, a psychological shift that no ruler could ignore. But perhaps no ancient empire embraced dark ceremonial power more dramatically than the Aztecs. Their rituals were built on the belief that the sun god needed human energy to survive. Without sacrifice, they believed, the world would end. The most feared and revered ceremony was the new fire ritual, performed every 52 years. As the calendar reset, all fires in the empire were extinguished. People waited in absolute darkness, terrified the world might not be renewed. On a mountaintop, priests lit a new fire on a sacrificial victim's chest. Once the flame ignited, runners carried it to every city and village. The world had survived, again. To us, these rituals seem horrifying, but to the Aztecs, they were acts of cosmic stewardship. Without them, the sun would die, crops would wither, and humanity would vanish. The ceremony wasn't senseless, it was responsibility. In West Africa, secret societies like the Poro and Sande held rituals that shaped community life. These weren't merely spiritual, they were political. Leaders were chosen, disputes settled, and traditions protected during rites hidden from outsiders. The societies communicated with ancestor spirits, conducted initiations, and taught moral codes. These rituals built social order, and their secrecy maintained authority. Even in ancient Europe, rituals influenced kingship more than warfare. Celtic druids conducted ceremonies at sacred groves, using chants and sacrifices to predict the future. Roman writers claimed druids could foretell the outcomes of battles, guide leaders, and even call down supernatural forces. While some of these claims were exaggerated by enemies, the influence of druidic rituals shaped tribal politics across Gaul and Britain. As civilizations advanced, rituals became more refined, less bloody, but no less powerful. Coronations, for instance, were ritual theater. Medieval kings didn't simply take the throne, they were transformed through ceremony into beings chosen by God. Oils, relics, crowns, chants, each step designed to elevate a human into something more. Without the ritual, the crown meant nothing. With it, the king claimed divine right. Even in times of war, rituals controlled fate. Roman generals observed elaborate rites before battle. If an omen was unfavorable, a bird flying the wrong way, a flame flickering oddly, they delayed the fight. Soldiers believed victory depended not only on steel but on ceremony. And when Hannibal marched into Italy, the Romans performed dark rites in secret chambers, hoping to counter a threat they could not defeat with strategy alone. But what made these rituals so powerful? Why did they rule the ancient world? Because rituals were psychological weapons long before anyone understood psychology. They created unity in crowds, loyalty in soldiers, fear in enemies, and legitimacy in leaders. They convinced people that the world was ordered, that fate could be influenced, that death was not the end. Ceremonies shaped identity and gave meaning to suffering. And because rituals were often hidden, they gained an aura of mystery that made them even more influential. What people cannot see, they imagine. What they imagine, they fear or worship. By the time writing spread, many of the earliest rituals had already vanished, remembered only through fragments, stones arranged in circles, symbols carved in caves, tools buried beside ancient bones. Others survived in modified forms, evolving into religious rites, coronations, initiation ceremonies, and political traditions still practiced today. The darkest rituals may be gone, but their legacy lives on. Humans still gather to celebrate births, marriages, deaths. We still swear oaths, perform ceremonies, honor symbols, and seek meaning through shared acts. Rituals are in our courts, our governments, our faiths, our families. Ancient ceremonies may seem distant, but they shaped everything that followed. They forged civilizations, crowned rulers, justified wars, and soothed fears older than history itself. In their shadows, humanity found its sense of order, identity, and destiny. And even now, somewhere in the world, in a temple or forest or quiet room, someone is performing a ritual, believing, just as our ancestors did, that the universe is listening.